New year means new beginnings. So, how about with the turning of the new year, we change things up a bit? Much better. Well, 2014 is here, and with that means I'm gonna be super busy with stuff. Mainly with college auditions and things like that. Which is why I'm going to be leaving songwriting online here to a minimum, since I'm going to be working on so much on stuff like comic dubs and all the other stuff. As you can tell, I have a lot on my plate. I'm still going to be making covers and other like mini songs or stuff like that. Just to remind you guys, hey, I'm a musician, guys. Now, as for reviews and stuff, I'm still planning on making a lot more of those throughout the years. Starting with a review on a project that I'm doing casting for. No, not that one. There we go. Yes, I'm delving back into this realm again. The Two Kinds review did okay in my eyes, and I was like, what the hell, I'll review another one. And anyone that knows me very well knows that I freaking love this comic. And hell, if Digi can talk about freaking alpacas or whatever the hell they are, I can do something different as well. Is anyone here familiar with Bill Watterson? Well, you should be, because he probably made the most influential comic characters outside of Garfield and that one Viking guy. Those characters would be Calvin and Hobbes. As a kid, I used to read these comics all the times, and even to this day, I still have a few of them lying around my house somewhere. But I'm not here to gush about that. No. I'm here to gush about a webcomic that takes a lot of inspiration from Calvin and Hobbes. The webcomic, Sandra and Wu. Sandra and Wu started back in 2008 by Oliver this spelling, or otherwise known as Noville, and Periodini, or Prare. Working in different parts of the globe, they produced this comic and not only make a nice homage to one of my favorite comics ever, but comes up with some great ideas on its own. That way it comes out fresh to an audience that never heard of Calvin and Hobbes before. To start things off, in the first few strips, we follow a young girl named Sandra, who finds a raccoon that she and her dad call Wu, having run off from a, honestly, really over-aggressive owner, but that's taken care of nicely by Sandra's dad. After that, we soon learn that Wu can talk, in perfect English. I'm not gonna question it, it's like Pinkie Pie. If you question it, then there'll never be answers. But yeah, so, that's a thing I didn't think could happen. And no, this is not Sandra's imagination, either. Wu is really talking. There are strips later on showing him talking to other humans. Well, more like yelling than running for his life, but still that's talking. Anyways, after that, the rest of the comic is strips of Sandra and Wu and their shenanigans with their friends, consisting of Sandra's baddest boyfriend Cloud, Sandra's pyromaniac / crazy friend Larissa, Wu's girlfriend Sid, and Wu's fox friend Shadow. There are other characters including the kid's parents and Wu's girlfriend Lily, but they don't have that many panels as of right now, so I'm just going to talk about them in this one. Speaking of characters, let's talk about the characters. Starting with Sandra. Sandra is any typical 11-year-old girl. She has a passion for math and wants to do whatever she can with her skills. Though she has a bit of a problem remembering some equations sometimes, letting herself down a little bit. But she's a rather enjoyable character overall. She's smart and has great personality traits to play along with. She's kind of like Calvin, except is a lot better at school, basically. Now on to Wu. If Sandra was Calvin, then Wu is most definitely Hobbes. He can switch between a lazy, mooching raccoon, eating everything out of the fridge in the beginning of the comics, to, well, an animal. He has the tendencies of an actual animal, but he has the tendencies of both a wild animal and a domesticated animal, which is actually kind of interesting, for he can basically switch between liking being pampered to, somewhat, taking care of himself when he's in the wild. Wu is just a fun character to watch, very diverse in his comedy, and he has a lot of great straight moments as well. But he's obviously Hobbes. I mean, come on. Now on to the friends of the main characters. Starting with Sandra's boyfriend, Cloud. Now, as you can tell from the name, he's named after Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Why? Well, because his parents are huge fans of the game, so they just wanted to name their son after Cloud. And in turn for giving him a stupid name, they give him martial arts lessons, sword lessons, and heck, I probably wouldn't be surprised if this kid was familiar with using a gun. Cloud is just a freaking badass, sticking up for his friends whenever he needs to, though he can use his skill for more devious purposes. Well, devious as an 11-year-old can get, but what else can you do? Okay, now Larissa. So imagine if Pinkie Pie and the Pyro from TF2 somehow were able to make a baby, this would probably be that baby. Larissa is a very fun character, wanting to spread rumors and dirt on almost anyone, and loves setting things on fire. She just loves having fun, sometimes to other people's expense, loving to cause chaos and controversy wherever she goes. Actually, the more I talk, the more I think she's a human child of Pinky in Discord. Well, heck, at least it's not a fanfiction. I swear, they'll make fanfiction of anything nowadays. Now on the Woo's main friends, starting with Sid. Sid is just like any other squirrel, trying to find something to eat while the rest of the world is literally out to get him. Since he's just a squirrel, he is literally near the bottom of the food chain. Though, luckily enough, he is friends with Woo and Shadow. Speaking of Shadow, he's a fox, and like Sid, is basically most of the time looking around for something to eat. He's not the worst hunter, but we do see how hard it is for him to get some food. Sometimes he jokes about eating Sid, but again, those are only jokes. Him and Sid really are close friends, and they go way back, and have a nice, touching backstory with each other. Now, what is one of the prime indicators of the Common and Hobbs inspiration outside the characters? Well, that would obviously be the artwork. Now, I wouldn't say it's exactly like the original source material. It's definitely much more cleaner with its art style than Common and Hobbs. But remember, this is a webcomic. They are almost all digital. Meaning, of course, that it's going to look much nicer than it would on paper. That doesn't mean it loses the same effect as the originals, though. It literally makes me think how good the original Common and Hobbs would look if it was more digitally drawn format. Sure, I'm just a musician, and in no sense a visual artist, so I could be just spewing complete nonsense. But hell, that's just how I look at it. Now, I bet you're all wondering why I waited until now to bring up a story. Well, the truth is, there isn't that much of one. In the continual sense, at least. Oh, sure, there are stories in here that allow for some character growth and development here, but it's not like Two Kinds or any other form of media like Avatar The Last Airbender or something like that, where there's like an overarching story to go along with the other stories that are in there. In Sandra Rue, there is no main storyline, really. Just a lot of stories showing off the characters and their other shenanigans. Just like Calvin and Hobbes. Is it a bad thing? No. I always like to see something like this that's a bit more slice of life that isn't like MLP or an anime like Lucky Star. It's just refreshing to me because in terms of slice of life, stuff like that just dominates the market and the internet for so long now. So whenever I find something that's slice of life that's not that, it's just really refreshing to me. Now, I'm not saying that I'm tired of MLP or anything like that. Far from it. But there's more to life than just ponies, and this comic helped me keep it in the right mindset for that. I cannot honestly think of a single person that would honestly hate this comic. Unless you're some kind of stuck-up elitist who thinks it's just a rip-off of Calvin and Hobbes. If that is the case, then that one person in the comics that'll eventually type in something like that, get off your high horse and listen. This comic, while it takes a lot of inspiration from Calvin and Hobbes, does so in a way that's fresh and new. There is no copy and paste of stories here. The stories are all original. The characters are all fun and enjoyable, and the development and growth they all grow through are great. The artwork is consistently solid all the way through, and again, it's a nice way to adapt the sort of Calvin and Hobbes art style into a more digital form of drawing. Honestly, this isn't anything less than perfect. Putting a score on this would describe how much I love this webcomic. It's a nice mixture of old and new, which is why I won't give it a score. It's that good, guys. Go find the comic on SandraandWoo.com, read it. It's still ongoing with over like 500 plus panels done at this point. Just go and read it. I can't stress that enough. If you like this review, the webcomic, or just Calvin and Hobbes in general, I would like to suggest the documentary Dear Mr. Watterson. A documentary about Bill Watterson, Calvin and Hobbes, and how it's basically become a childhood favorite for many, many people. Seth Green is even in this, which is pretty cool. At least I know he has some good taste in comics. Go look that up when you can. It's a great watch for any Calvin and Hobbes fan. Anyways, this has been The Music Reborn. See you all next time.